Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the B2B, and I've still got my old banner in here, LinkedIn, the B2B Live Lounge with my esteemed and amazing, wonderful guest, Linnair Johnston. Hello, Linnair.
Pure from New Zealand. Good morning, good evening.
So what time is it there in New Zealand?
8 o'clock.
8
At
o'clock.
night.
At night, and in the UK we're 9 a.m. So it's all crazy time zones here. And I've moved. I've had to shift my normal time just to get you on the show, Linnair. And
Well,
I'm
I'm
so
so very pleased that you did, Sarah. So thank you, and thank you for having me. It's lovely to be with you.
absolute pleasure, my absolute pleasure, Linnair. And we were just chatting in the green room as we do. And I always like to try to remember, and I don't think we have a clear timeline on this, how we first met on LinkedIn. Can we
Well,
remember?
I suspect it was probably through our mutually esteemed friend, the wonderful John Asperian, but it was some time back, Sarah, and well before COVID, I think. So we've been friends a long time.
We have indeed. And it's so lovely. And this is one of the things I love about LinkedIn is that, yes, of course, it's for business, which is all wonderful and lovely, but we make the most incredible friendships on LinkedIn and supporters and collaborators and people who can just help us in our journey. And here we are chatting, and it's just wonderful.
I was looking through your YouTube videos earlier today, and I was looking at your previous guests and going, oh, friend, oh, fabulous friend, fabulous friend, co-author, friend. We've got so many friends in common that you've already had on your life. So it's just fabulous. I feel like I'm amongst friends already.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And in fact, somebody did say to me, you doing this live show, Sarah, it's just really an excuse for you to catch up with your mates, isn't it?
Yes, well, that's right. That's very true.
Not that we need an excuse, of course.
No.
So, Lynette, just very quickly to say, if you are here watching live, please do say hello in the chat. Any questions you have for Lynette, please put them in the chat. And we love a conversation. We love a little chat. So anything that you would like to put in the chat, please do so. But please do say hello, first and foremost. Lynette, so what I love about you, lots and lots of things. Firstly, you're always smiling and you're always happy, which is one of the lovely things about you. But what I really love about your posts and your content is a lot of it is based around your number one hobby, which is gardening.
And my number one addiction, LinkedIn is only my number two addiction. Gardening is my number one addiction, no question. And you can see from the plants around me, I bring my addiction indoors as well, Sarah. So I have quite a large garden, and which I started from scratch about 6 years ago. And I've planted a lot of trees, which I'll never live long enough to see in their full glory. But I absolutely love plants, propagating, flowers, trees, you name it. Anything that's green, Sarah, I absolutely adore.
And you're in the right climate, obviously, for growing lots of greenery, which is wonderful. But what I love is how you use the analogy of gardening and horticulture to help people understand LinkedIn. And I would love you to elaborate on that a little bit more. Let's talk about that. Let's hear some of these wonderful analogies that you've created.
Well, it's interesting that you should say that, because I didn't intend that to be the case. I was intending just to talk about gardening, and I do a video a week about my garden. I'm usually standing in the garden or by a garden bed or by a pot or somewhere horticultural, and I then talk about my garden and what's going on in it, and then liken it to LinkedIn. So you're quite right. But really, the ideas, the synergies, if you like, just seem to arrive. So, for example, one day I was out weeding a pot and taking off some dead leaves and flowers and going, this is a bit like doing your housekeeping on LinkedIn when you're grooming your pot like this. You've got to make sure that you've got you've answered all your messages, that you've said yes or no to all your connection invites, and that you've kept everything neat and tidy, and just the same sort of thing as you do in your pots. And I was out looking at a sunflower that was planted in completely the wrong place last weekend, and went, this was a terrible error because the birds didn't like it. It was a particular kind of sunflower that looked pretty, but the birds didn't like the seeds. And I'm going, well, this was a bit of a waste, really. It was a bit like doing a fabulous post that nobody saw. And I'm going, well, hang on a minute. I could be talking about that and how you can repurpose or reuse your content in the same way as you can do with your plants. So plants might want to be edible. They might want to look good. They might want to have a lovely fragrance. So I those ideas just seem to fit, Sarah. So I've got a whole bunch of those, I have to say. And I don't think I'm ever going to run out of ideas, because gardening is one of those things that it's a bit like LinkedIn. It never ends. There's always something new to do, something you've got to learn, something new to try out, is how I would describe that.
I love that. So pruning, if you like, your plant that you've got in front of you is like pruning your LinkedIn profile in a way.
Yes, or editing your post when you write something. I don't know about you, but when I write something, as you can tell, I'm not the shy retiring type. So my posts generally start out twice as long as they end up. And I need to do a bit of editing. And that's how I see my gardening often too. I've got to tidy things up, make things look better, make sure that they're not crowded out by other things. And in a post, for example, you want one idea, one message to come across loud and clear. And if you don't just edit away or weed away all of the extra words, then people aren't going to understand what it is that you're really trying to say. So, you can see where this is just going more and more into the gardening and LinkedIn, isn't it? All the time.
I love this. This is so brilliant, because people do find LinkedIn scary and this kind of weird place where they don't understand what's going on. And by using things that we do in our everyday lives and talking about, as you do, gardening, it must help people understand it better.
Well, I think also it helps people understand me. And they can see me in a different light, because of course not all my posts are around gardening. I just want everybody to know that's only a small proportion I actually talk about gardening in. And so people can get to know you when they're seeing you in your outside environment or in your natural habitat, if you like. And I like that because LinkedIn's all about people, isn't it? It's all about relationships and people getting to know you and like you and trust you. And if they can see you in your garden or in somewhere that you do feel comfortable, I think that goes a long way towards helping people understand who you are as a person.
I agree. That's a brilliant 100%, because we were talking earlier about the guests that I've had on this show. Nearly every single guest I've had and is going to be coming on the show we're LinkedIn trainers. We help people with their LinkedIn. How many LinkedIn trainers do we need in this world? And why would you choose one LinkedIn trainer over another? And it's about our personalities, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. And if people feel that they know you and they like you, they're more likely to pick up the phone or send you a DM and say, I've seen you on LinkedIn, and you look like the kind of person that I would like to do business with. And the converse applies as well, Sarah, I think. Not every person is the right client for each of us. And so I think that when we talk about the things that we love to do, people who aren't at all interested in that will go, okay, that person's not for me. Moving on, I'll find somebody else who is. And that works equally as well, I think.
Absolutely. And I've had clients come to me and say, I want to work with you. And I say, no, I'm not right for you, but I will pass you on to another LinkedIn trainer that I know, who I know works in that field. So I don't help job seekers, for example. It's just not a part of what I do at all. So I'll pass them over to somebody like Tina or maybe Brenda or somebody else who sort of focuses on that area. So yeah, no, I think that's absolutely brilliant because we are all different.
Yeah.
Talking of different ways that we help our audience,
Mhm.
you have a very broad church, if you like. So you help people in lots of different ways. So you have, I know you have a membership, which I would like to talk to you about more in more detail shortly. But the fact that you help people in lots of different ways, how has that helped you in your business?
Well, New Zealand's a very small country, Sarah. There's only 5 million of us and fit into a suburb in London, basically. And so the market overall is quite a lot smaller. So in London, for example, a LinkedIn trainer who only focuses on LinkedIn but does it quite broadly is not in any kind of a niche. But in New Zealand, I am in a niche. Now, I do work with people internationally, it must be said, but mainly people who come to me in New Zealand really see me already as being in a niche because I've been a professional writer all my life and I had a copywriting business before I met LinkedIn and fell in love, Sarah. And now I don't do that anymore because I do all my copywriting on LinkedIn, as it were, for my clients. And so in a way, I have already niched down, there's no question. And I tend to love LinkedIn so much that I want to know bits about everything. You know, the only thing I really don't touch on LinkedIn is advertising. I pretty much do everything else. I love to help people with their LinkedIn profiles because there is so much that they can be doing on their profiles these days, as you know. We love to help clients with their content creation and with their network building and their visibility. So we work in that kind of an area as well. And I really enjoy helping people with training and mentoring because, as you said, LinkedIn's a scary beast for a lot of people, but it's also really important for people to have at least a working knowledge of it and be able to have a compelling profile so that they do stand out, because otherwise they're just going to get left behind. And I think that that's something that is really important to a lot of people in business and of course in B2B, in any kind of form these days. I think people have to make sure that they are well and truly across LinkedIn. So for my business, which was the question that you asked, it's been amazing. It's been absolutely fantastic because I'm doing what I love and helping people who really do need it in a country where there isn't a lot of help in this particular area. We're not overrun with lots of LinkedIn trainers. So in that kind of sense, I guess I'm different too because I do have a niche.
Brilliant. I love that. Yes, and I suppose because you're, as you said, you've got a smaller audience,
Mm.
you service a wider range of you know, you need to have a wider range of services to help them. So tell me about your membership, Linnea, Linkability, which is a fabulous name, and you've managed to get the link in there, but legally, and you're not going to get one of these cease and desist notices from LinkedIn, which is why I've had to change the name. I didn't of my LinkedIn Live Lounge to the B2B Live Lounge. I didn't get a notice of cease and desist, but I thought prevention was better than,
Oh, I
well, it's obvious.
absolutely think that was a very good idea. No question.
After hearing stories from people like yes, all kinds of people,
Mm.
so I thought, right, I'm going to cut this now. So Linkability, such a great name, and who does it serve, your membership?
My membership serves people who want to leverage LinkedIn to help them achieve their professional goals. So we aim at people who have just really started on LinkedIn, but also people who've been on it for a while and really want to just make it that little bit better and go that little bit step further. Perhaps people who want to hold events or want to set up newsletters, people who aren't right at the very beginning of the process, Sarah, which of course is just setting up a profile. Because as you and I both know, getting a LinkedIn profile up and looking fantastic is only the first step. And there are a lot of things that you've got to do after that. And so that's really who the Linkability member site is aimed at. So mainly we have content under profiles, under posting, and under company pages, of course, because I'm a great fan of company pages. I'm in a minority here, I understand that, but I do think that company pages are a great idea for small businesses, not least because they're free.
No, I agree, and I'm a big fan of company pages, and I think I've written lots of, why to have why should we have a company page? The first thing that happens, of course, is that you can link your personal profile directly through to your company page, and you get the logo under there, right under your banner, and it makes such a difference to the way that somebody's personal profile looks, doesn't it, when they have that logo there?
Well, it looks more complete, doesn't it? And it really shows, as you say, right at the very top of your profile. And so why would you not want to do that? It doesn't take a lot of time to set up a company page. And there are a lot of people, Sarah, who don't do much with their company pages, who just set them up and leave them, and that's perfectly fine. Some of us are a bit more active on our pages. But anyway, you want to have a page, it's great. But you just need to have one. It's just like anything. You just got to take that first step to get started.
Absolutely, absolutely. So back to your membership, because as usual with these conversations, we kind of drift off and weave and weft around, which is why I love these conversations. So when did you set it up? Was it 3 years ago you've been running it?
Yes, probably. It certainly is. It's on its second iteration now, on its second website. So it has been around quite a long time. And I really enjoy it because it gives me an opportunity to help people in a wider way. So when I'm doing training or mentoring, it's really just one-to-one or one to just a few people. But with a member site, you can reach a lot more people. And there's only one of me and a lot of people who need help on LinkedIn and who want it. And so the aim of it is so that people can learn about LinkedIn in a way that they want to. So at times that they want to, because you and I both know I live in a weird time zone. It's already late in the evening here, and you're just starting your day. And so it's very difficult when you're running a site like that to be able to be doing things at a time that everybody can attend. So to be able to share information in a way that people can learn it at a time they want to learn it, I think is really valuable. So as part of that, I have a private group on LinkedIn, and that's where I share a lot of information that I don't post about, I don't publish, because it's just might be things I found out about that I want to share with people, new ideas that I'm experimenting with. I do love a good experiment, Sarah, and so I'm always trying out new ideas. And so I share those kind of things with the members because I think that's the kind of thing that just makes it stand out just that little bit more.
Absolutely. Otherwise, why would they pay to be? Well, obviously they get the community, which is, I think, is a really important part of a membership. And somebody said to me once, people join a membership for the knowledge, but they stay for the community. And I think
Yes.
that's really valid. Yeah. And so I used to have a membership and I closed it down and I've reopened my new-ish membership. And it's very much about keeping each other accountable. And
Well,
this
that's
is,
a good idea. Yes, I
yeah.
like that. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So I do some teaching in the group once a month, and then once a month we meet up and we do co-working, which is fabulous. I love a bit of Zoom co-working. Um,
I'd never get anything done, Sarah.
oh
I'd
no,
always be talking to people. It'd be hopeless.
oh no, you're not allowed. So you have to. So
Oh.
no. So you come into the beginning and you say, right, this hour I'm going to achieve this, and this hour I'm going
Oh.
to achieve this, and I write all of them down, and then it's cameras on, sound off.
Okay. Oh,
So we
that's a
can
good
see each
idea.
other, but we
Yes.
see each other working, and then
Yes.
somebody will message, "Just going to the loo," or "Just going to make a cuppa," to, have that validation that they can leave and then come back again. And then just before, about 10 minutes before or less than 10 minutes before the end of the hour, I will unmute and I'll play my music and everybody jumps.
Wake everybody up. I love it.
And then I say, right, Jane, did you achieve this? Kirsty, did you achieve that? And they say, yes, I did. And I got more done. And it's what you can get done in that hour is amazing.
I think too, by booking it, Sarah, you're making yourself accountable. You're making yourself show up, and you're putting everything else aside. You're turning your phone off. You're not doing anything else. You are concentrating on that. And I don't know about you, but I do get sidetracked terribly easily. If I think I'm going to go to LinkedIn and just check on something that I'm writing, I just want to be double sure about this. I'll go to LinkedIn. I'll see somebody's post and go, oh no, I do need to comment on that. I can't let that one go by. And by the time I finished, I go, what was I here for? And I have to go back. So making sure that you stay on the straight and narrow with what you're doing, I think is a really good idea. It's a brainwave.
Oh, Lynette, I love that story. And it makes me realize I'm not alone. Because it is very easy.
Very easy, isn't it? To get sidetracked.
Very easy to get distracted. Very, very easy to get distracted. And I'm so distracted, I can't remember the next question that I was going to ask you, because we've talked about your membership, which sounds amazing. And what do you have a time that you meet up?
With the members, no, not at this point, because I've got people who are members who are from all over the world, and so consequently, when I'm up and about, lots of them are sleeping. So that's not really a terribly useful thing. So what I do tend to do is I tend to record something, and then I make that available to people, and then they can watch it in their own time, and just catch up with it when they're ready. And that works much better for me. Although I do like to have an audience because they can ask questions. And they can give you feedback about, you haven't quite explained that well enough. I don't really quite get that. And so I do miss that side of it, but I do like the idea of, being able to video things. And I have to say that mastering video for LinkedIn, Sarah, is something that a lot of people have not yet done, but they really do need to. And look, if someone like me can do it, anybody can do it. It's not that difficult. It's just a matter of mind over matter. And I think a lot of people just go, oh no, I can't, it's too hard, when really what they're saying is I'm too afraid. But you just have to say, no, I am going to do this. I'm going to get over this and make this happen. And our mutual friend, Gillian Whitney, is a great person. She's a hero when it comes to video and live streaming. And I'm absolutely a devoted fan, because she has helped me in so many ways to be able to get to grips with video. And I think that's a really important skill for anybody who is on LinkedIn to have.
Absolutely, 100%. And in fact, Gillian gave me a tip ages ago, which I share with my membership as well, is maybe it's a good idea to put something, either a photograph or a teddy or something, above your camera, so that you feel like you're actually speaking to somebody. Yeah, isn't that cool?
So she calls her camera Lenny. And which I think is a really good idea. So, hi, Lenny. And she's speaking to the camera. So yeah, that works really well. I absolutely agree. And she did mention that in the live we did last week too, amongst many other really useful tips. So she's worth the weight in gold, that woman.
She certainly is. And you have a live show as well, which goes out at I think it's 2 a.m. UK, is it, or something?
Yes, it is. It's in the middle of the night for you, unfortunately. So I alternate between lives and audio events. So today I did an audio room, and then in a couple of weeks we're going to do a LinkedIn Live. And so I just swap those about, because I find that the audio events do get quite a good audience, and you do get that interaction, because with these, with lives, of course, as we're doing right now, you and I can be talking and people can be writing in the comments, but you can't easily invite somebody else to come in and share the spotlight with us, and ask a question and be on the stage, as it were. Whereas with an audio event, you can, and they're so easy to set up and to run. So I really do like the audio events, because you don't have to sort of get all ready, don't need extra people to help you with them, although I always do. I just think they're a really great opportunity for people to basically have their own radio station. And I think a lot of people are not seeing that as an opportunity yet. People who came from the Clubhouse era, they definitely do. But people who didn't, who haven't really got, who don't know much about how audio events work, are a bit like they are with video. They were going, oh no, don't think so, not quite for me. Whereas I think people are missing an opportunity there.
You're right. And I have still yet to set up an audio room and run an audio. Yes, I definitely should. But what is great about audio is obviously you don't need your camera on, you don't need to sit in a certain place and blah, blah, blah. And you can be in your PJs if you want. So if I was awake at 2 a.m., I could easily just turn on my phone in bed and join your audio room. And I wouldn't
Yeah.
have to participate if I didn't want to, but there's
No.
always the opportunity to do that.
Yes, and that's one of the things I like. It's very much one of those things that's voluntary, and people might start thinking they don't want to join the stage and come on and ask a question. But when they see the kind of atmosphere and feel part of the conversation, then they sometimes will. And I do like that because I do get sick of the sound of my own voice, Sarah. And so it is nice after you've been talking for a while for somebody else to come up and share their experience or ask a question. And so with those, I usually talk about new features because new features on LinkedIn are one of the things I absolutely love. And so I always start with a roundup of the latest new features, and then I have a topic of the day. And from there, we get a really good conversation going with people asking questions, people sharing their experience, all kinds of interaction. And also, we have a chat group that's part of that, which is becoming much more common now with an audio event. So where you might have a group that is sending out messages to each other for other reasons on LinkedIn, we set one up specifically for our audio events. And so people who are attending that can join that chat and network with each other. And they can add in links and talk about things, add a bit of a joke, whatever it might happen to be. And so you've almost got two dual conversations going on. You've got the host and the people who are on the stage and the audience, and then you've got what's going on in the chat. And that's been a really good addition to our audio events. And people seem to really like that. And we really enjoy doing that as well. It's really lots of fun.
That's a great resource for people, and that's the beauty of audio rooms, isn't it? You don't have to be connected to the fellow guests, if you like. What are they, attendees
No.
or guests? To message them. So that's a really clever use of audio room. Well done there. I'm
Well,
quite
and you can,
jealous.
as you say, you can network with them, and if you find people that you want to connect with, then you can do that from within the easily from within the event itself. And I just think that's a really good way to be able to also be seen. So let me just mention this. I think visibility is a really important thing on LinkedIn, and you and I both know that posts aren't doing nearly as well as they were only even just a year ago, really. And so consequently, being able to be visible both attending events, being a host on event, or being seen on the stage of an event is a really good way for people to be able to learn about you and to see you or hear you on an audio event rather than see you. But they do see your photo. They see your profile photo. Another very good reason why you should have a very good photo on your profile. So I think there are multiple reasons why events are doing so well and why people should be considering running them more themselves, not least because you can do it from your profile and or your company page.
Absolutely, you can. You can go from your company page or your personal profile. Indeed, you can. And there are advantages and disadvantages to both.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have time to go into that because I've just looked at the
Do
time.
not. Can I come back again?
Absolutely, you can. Very quickly, before your final question, you have two books over your right shoulder.
Oh, I
Talk about very
do.
quickly.
I
Talk
do.
about the
Yes.
fact that you're a twice published author.
So Linkability was my first book. When I suddenly was announced, or somebody decided I was a top expert in LinkedIn in New Zealand, I decided better write a book. So I wrote a book. And then I approached Michelle J. Raymond from Sydney and said, would you like to write a book about company pages? And she said, you betcha. And so we collaborated on Business Gold together. And that's in its second edition. World's first book about LinkedIn company pages. There you go.
It is the first book about LinkedIn company pages. I have the first edition. I don't have the second edition. And it's a great, I'm going to use the word little because it is a little book.
It is
And when
little,
I say
yes.
little, I don't mean little in it's the value. I mean little as in it's not loads of information, but it's easily
No.
digestible and it's a fantastic book. So yeah, well done. And in fact, I did have it. I have it out on my desk most of the time. So well done for doing that. So we are actually at time. I can't believe how these fly, but I am
Oh,
going to
it's
ask you
amazing.
one more. I know, it's incredible, isn't it? One last question, Lynette. So for people who are watching or people who are listening to the podcast at a later date, could you please share 3 tips that you can give to our audiences for them to take away and action today?
All right. Number one, if you are in B2B, you need to really look at your services section and make the most of that now that it's visible and on the front of your profile, right underneath your about section. That's number one. Number two, you need to start collecting reviews for your services section if you are in B2B, because if you have a premium account, that will show right there on the front, on the top of your profile. And number three is if you don't have very many recommendations on your profile, then you need to collect some more, and you need at least one of them pinned to your featured section.
Oh, wow. Boom, straight in there. I love those. So if you're B2B, get your services section up to date, keyword optimized the lot.
Yes, a lot.
Use the recommendations section in the my brain's just gone. In the
Reviews.
service.
It's reviews. It's all crazy.
Reviews
It's reviews and services and recommendations at the bottom of your profile.
and the
But you can
recommendations.
only add recommendations to your featured section. Oh, don't ask me why.
Yeah, I know, weird that, isn't it? And
Hmm.
also about recommendations is give them as well as ask
Oh,
for them.
that's
But
very good. That's very good.
yeah,
Absolutely. And can I give you a bonus tip,
oh
Sarah?
yes,
And
please.
that is in your services section. You can have native video in your featured section. Your video either has to be hosted on YouTube or Vimeo, or it has to be embedded in a post to be able to put on your featured section. In your services section, you can just record your own video and put it straight up. So easy.
Wow, that is so powerful. So in short, go to your services section and just get with it, optimize it, fill it, put everything in there, put a video in there, get some reviews in there, and make sure
Yes.
it's fully optimized.
Yes.
Linnea, those
Very
are
visible.
amazing, amazing tips. And that's stuff that people can do really easily today, isn't it?
And they should do it today, because, I mean, ideas are only ideas. Implementation and taking action is the critical thing, Sarah. So if anybody goes away and thinks, I didn't get anything out of that, well, they really come back to these questions, these answers, and have a look at what we've just been talking about, because I think there's some really good value in there.
Absolutely, there is. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Linnea Johnston, all the way from New Zealand, with your amazing plants and your incredible knowledge of LinkedIn and keeping up to date and sharing all the new features on LinkedIn. Linnea, I have to ask you one more question. Where's the best place to find you?
Well, let me think. Do you know, I had that in mind on the tip of my tongue, Sarah. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. LinkedIn.
Yay! And the other thing I love about LinkedIn is that we're on there, our personal profiles are our names. So it's very easy to find
Yes.
people. And your name's not that common, so we can
No.
easily find you. So if you're watching, if you're listening, please head over, go and find Linnea Johnston and connect with her. And she will definitely accept your connection request as long as you send a note and tell her where you saw her. And Linnea Johnston, thank you so much. And hopefully I'll get you back sometime and we can continue this conversation.
Well, I'd love to come back, Sarah. Thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure. I've had such fun, and we haven't even started to talk about gardening yet.
Thank you, Linnea. I'm going to play us out.